I think there's different types of musicians. I think there's the folks that are just so naturally talented, and then I think there's folks that might be smart enough to play an instrument. And I may fall into that category. Fantastic counter. My band director, Cody Myers at the time, was a West Texas A&M alumni, and I was in band at the time, played trumpet, followed Cody's path to some extent, which was not my first choice of instrument.
I met her 36 years ago when she bounded into my band hall as a 7th grade beginning band student in Dumas Junior High. I'm a trumpet player, and so I taught her trumpet. She became an incredible trumpet player.
Spent a couple summers at band camp at West Texas A&M. Really enjoyed the college, the professors. Dr. Gary Garner obviously can't be beat.
She kept on coming to our band camp at WT, and I think that's why she came here to be a music major and then later on go into accounting.
It's especially exciting to see when they go to WT.
Applied for scholarships, was fortunate enough to get a trumpet scholarship. The other, I think, fun fact when I look back on it, I also got a scholarship from T. Boone Pickens, who is obviously the master oil man, and as I look now at my career, focused in oil and gas, it's fun to look back at those kind of coincidences at the time. I played trumpet in the band for about a year, and then you just go through those changes when you're in college and realize, hey, I think I really want to spend more time in the numbers, and switching to accounting was actually really seamless. And I think it was good for me. I had that base of friends, but then I found really the consistency in the quality of West Texas at that point. What impresses upon me is just the quality of the teachers. And we would all go to class, and then we'd all go to work, and then we'd all study at night, and you can imagine everybody's on fumes, just laughing right here in this very library. Still played in the band for the rest of my time there at West Texas. Just the football games, the time in the stands. I think the other thing that's so different now is a lot of us would go into the computer lab. I mean, people didn't have computers, like you had an email on campus at the lab, and just a lot of the fun time spent in there. Just really easy, I think, to be successful there. I mean, you were just very much set up for success.
She was just a hard worker. She was a great band kid. She was just a really big part of the symphonic band and the marching band. She was a great leader. Dr. Garner was Brenda's band director at that time. I was the assistant band director, and we've had a lot of great conversations about Brenda.
But for a girl from Dumas, Texas, the career that she built, where she lived in London, New York, Dallas, was a leading expert in the accounting world and oil and gas.
I actually took oil and gas accounting in college, go figure. And at that point, just the oil and gas industry is much more complicated from an accounting standpoint. And that really gave me a leg up when I started my career at Ernst & Young as well, that I had all that history in oil and gas, which is so unique. And the other reason I wanted to do oil and gas is I wanted to travel, and I really wanted to travel internationally. And so I knew that would be a good avenue to have some opportunities elsewhere, which did open up the opportunity for me to spend a couple years in London and worked on the British Petroleum account. The opportunity I had as a probably younger professional with my US GAAP experience really set me apart. Well, it's been dog years. So, I mean, it might look like a certain amount of years, but maybe 1.5 for every year. And so Ernst & Young was really full on for 14 years. And what a great experience there. Working in Dallas for the majority of that time. The London opportunity, the New York opportunity came late in my career. At that point, I was, about to make partner, but was just ready for something different. And one of my former clients reached out to me and sold me on this concho opportunity. And my friends are like, what are you doing moving to Midland, Texas? And like, what are you gonna do out there? And literally half of my interview, part of it with Tim Leach, was, can you live in Midland, Texas? And I said, I think so.
She became our chief financial officer, and she was just excellent. And I think the first time I met her, she was working in New York. I interviewed her in New York, and then she moved to Midland.
Concho was growing at the time, and there was just a lot of opportunity, and I was excited to be there, excited to work with a number of the folks. My bosses there were very supportive, continued to get more and more opportunities as the company grew.
She quickly evolved into someone that not only kept us out of trouble, but found the right answers, found the right course for things. She could have run Ernst & Young, I'm sure, and stayed in New York and had a fine career there. But she took a risk, and it turned out good for her.
I'd had a plan for kind of retirement post Endeavor's acquisition, and my husband and I bought a camper and thought we'd do some traveling, and I realized a little bit over the summer, because I really did enjoy working at Endeavor, that there's just a little bit more gas in the tank for me, and I didn't feel like that was going to be fulfilling to travel and camp and look outside, which is all fantastic in moderation. Things changed a little bit, and this opportunity came up, and just really excited about it. It's, I'm employee number 1 at the new Stevens Graff family office.
She's given the example of how a woman can succeed in this industry, and that has changed rapidly over the last 10 or 20 years.
I just see Brenda as a very strong woman. She's just a great model.
She doesn't suffer fools lightly. She's not antagonistic in any way, but I can look at her and tell when she's irritated by somebody's nincompoopery.
Anybody who knows Brenda knows she's a very no-nonsense person. Brenda operates with a lot of candor.
And I think that's where it's finding your style as well. I think sometimes people dance a little too long, and it's like, it's wrong, let's move on. And unfortunately for me, even if I'm trying to give a softer answer, it's probably going to show up on my face what I think anyway.
She has the messiest office of anybody in the company, I think, which is her system. That's the way she works.
I do, and I always have, and I always know where things are. But yes, unfortunately, that might be one of my calling cards. Email's the same. Somebody was like, "Oh, I file everything," and I looked yesterday. I was like, "I have 48,000 emails in my inbox."
That could be why she always met me downstairs in the cafeteria over at Concho.
It was early in my career, and I remember one of my first supervisors, he said, it's our responsibility as professionals with resources to help those that need it. And that stuck with me. We went to just an aphasia concert awareness probably 8 or 9 years ago. I didn't even know what aphasia was at the time. First off, I enjoyed the concert and thought, this is a group I'd like to get more involved with. Then my father-in-law had a stroke, and he had aphasia.
Aphasia is a loss of speech and language, usually due to a stroke. Brenda had a really big impact as a board president. Your board of directors is crucial, helping to cast a vision, helping to fundraise, helping to set a direction for a nonprofit. And I've said on many occasions that Brenda was the right leader at the right time for the Aphasia Center.
We felt really called that this opportunity would help us kind of continue what we want to do as a family. It's like, how do we help other folks and other causes to get people where they need to be. School is the easiest thing to give money to, and scholarships. That scholarship back when I was in college, meant a lot to me.
Through her success, it has enabled us to see what kind of person she really is. She has completely funded, I know of one scholarship.
I do believe she is a role model for women in leadership.
But I think it's important for women to see that there are women in leadership positions in oil and gas.
She's doing things that other people haven't done, and she's kind of being a leader, so I'm extremely proud of her.
Out of thousands of students, I would say that she's probably in the top 5 kids, easily in the top 1%. I mean, she's amazing.
We are really proud of her and what she's accomplished, and I can't think of a better person to be honored than Brenda.
I am so humbled and feel so undeserving. And so there are so many fantastic folks that have come out of West Texas and have made such large impacts. My whole thing is I always tell people, it's like, you need to be uncomfortable. And it's like, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not learning. And nobody really wants to be uncomfortable. But you look back and kind of pushing yourself into those uncomfortable situations to just go do what was next.